listening to Scribble Talk, a podcast for bid and proposal professionals. My name is Bhaskar Sundram, and with my co-host,
Ashley Case.
we will be sitting down with our industry veterans to share their stories, discuss their career, and learn how to make an impact in the industry.
Today's guest is Elisabeth Megli. Elisabeth helps businesses respond to requests for proposals and other solicitations to win work and grow their businesses. In 2017, she founded Theme Strategic Proposals to help clients navigate through the information needed to prepare compliant, responsive, and persuasive proposals. Elisabeth writes and edits every proposal to be customer-driven and enjoys coaching others on proposal best practices. Elisabeth has managed and prepared proposals submitted to 30 Fortune top 100 companies throughout her career and to dozens of local, state, and federal government entities. She's a certified proposal manager by the Association of Proposal Management Professionals, APMP, and is the former APMP Greater Midwest Chapter Communications Chair. Welcome, Elisabeth, to Scribble Talk. Great to have you with us.
Thanks so much, Ashley. I'm happy to be here.
So if you've listened to our podcasts in the past, we like to start in the beginning. So we're curious, where were you born? Where did you grow up? Where did you go to school?
I was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and moved to the Kansas City area when I was 5. So spent all of my early education in Kansas City, and then actually graduated from the University of Missouri, Kansas City in 2012.
Oh, wow. And what did you study there?
Journalism and mass communications.
Okay. So was your first job kind of in the more traditional communications field, or what was your first job?
When I started out, I thought I wanted to be a journalist, and I did intern for a local news station. And while I was there, I had that light bulb moment of, I actually don't think I want to work early mornings, late nights, and weekends all the time. And that's kind of what just made me focus more on like a corporate communications job. So I was really fortunate to find a marketing coordinator position after college for a local engineering firm.
Oh, interesting. And then how did you enter the proposal world then?
So the job title was marketing coordinator, but it turns out it was about 90% proposal management, writing and design, and about 10% marketing.
Okay, so kind of surprised you, gave you a job title, and then ended up doing a ton of proposals.
They did list it in the job description. And so before the interview, I'm Googling like, what is a proposal? I mean, really, really basic things, just trying to get a handle on what the actual role would entail. But I was surprised at how much I loved the proposal work.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it's something a lot of us don't go to school knowing we want to do, and then somehow we end up in it, and we have some weird personality thing, and we just fall in love with it.
Yes, exactly.
So over the years, I'm sure you've had a ton of memorable proposals. Are there any that stick out in your mind?
You know, the one that came to mind when I read that question earlier was when I first started my consultancy in 2017, one of my IT clients, one of the first proposals I helped them on was a 1,000-page RFP for the Canadian government, and it was for a nationwide contract procuring a software as a service solution. And so that was just a beast of a proposal, and I was terrified because it was my first Canadian proposal. And while I'm very, very big on strategy and win themes and, developing those differentiators, for that one, I was like, okay, this is 100% compliance focused. We have to be so compliant. And there was only one other bidder who submitted, and they were disqualified for not being compliant.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So yeah, it was interesting.
For sure. And compliance, it's just a story that reminds us how important compliance really is, right? If you're not compliant, really, that's the end of the road.
Yeah, exactly. Dead on arrival.
Wow. Okay, so Theme Strategic Proposals. Can you tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey and how the company has evolved?
Sure. Yeah. So I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, loved my work at the engineering firm, was recruited away from there doing all government proposals to a litigation defense firm. So I went from doing all government work to all business to business proposals. And during that time, I started freelancing for some small businesses in the area. And that's when I had another light bulb moment of, hey, this might actually be this business opportunity I've been looking for. There are so many wonderful small businesses that have great reputations for the work they do, but they don't have a full-time proposal manager in-house to help them win, nor do they necessarily need a full-time person. So that was what I founded my business on. And we're still extremely focused on serving the small business community. So we provide proposal management strategy, design, and writing services, and also shortlist presentation development and coaching.
Oh, wow. Very cool. And so is it just you? Do you have people that work for you? Did it start out with just you and evolve? Can you tell us a little bit about the evolution?
Yeah, it started out with just me and a graphic designer, and we've grown now to have 4 proposal managers, including myself. And 2 of us also serve as proposal writers. And then we also have 3 graphic designers because we're really focused on the visual presentation and proposals.
Oh, wow. Very cool. I feel like so often that graphics get kind of pushed to the side and they're an afterthought. So I love that your company's kind of focused on the visual appeal.
Thank you. Me too. I'm a little obsessive with it. So
Can you tell us some of your favorite ways that graphics can enhance a proposal?
sure, definitely. Client testimonials is a big one. So I love doing call outs or pull quotes from client testimonials or letters of recommendation. And then, of course, the data, featuring metrics. So wherever we can quantify something and make that a call out to really demonstrate the impact that, that's been that was had on a project. I always recommend doing. So data, metrics, and client quotes are probably my favorite ones to make into graphics.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Those can be so helpful and just really those hard hitting points that stand out when the evaluator is going through a bunch of text and then they just see this just standing out. It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
So what choices have you made in the last 5 years that you want to thank yourself for making?
Ooh, that's a great question. Definitely starting theme strategic proposals. I have no regrets over that decision, taking the jump. I know there's a lot of risk. It's a big leap of faith, but I'm, I guess, not risk averse. And that was, a decision that I'm so thankful I made.
Absolutely. So APMP, when did you join APMP as a member?
I need to verify, but I believe it was, I believe it was 2014.
Okay. And then it sounds like you went through some certification through the organization.
Yes. So I also got the certification in 2014. And I was super, super fortunate that Kristen Gohl, now Kristen McComber, she was leading the strategic pursuits initiative at the engineering firm I was at, Burns & McDonnell. And when she started working with the firm, she really helped get them to invest in the APMP corporate membership. And so as part of that, I was able to become a member. And they also supported me through the foundation certification process.
Oh, that's awesome. It's so great to hear when organizations are so supportive of APMP membership and certification and really learning and development and place a focus on the importance of, proposal management for the organization.
Yes, truly. I mean, if I had started there a few years earlier, I probably would have learned a lot of not best practices and proposals. And instead, I got this wonderful introduction to the proposal world and the proposal profession.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your involvement with the APMP Midwest chapter. You mentioned Kristen, now McComber. What other maybe kinds of individuals did you meet? How were you involved? What roles did you play?
Yeah, so I started out as the communications chair. Again, it might have been 2014 or 2015. And then I took a break for a few years. And then this last year, I rejoined the chapter as the local meetups co-chair. So I've been helping update our materials and invitations and FAQs and guides, and we're trying to get meetups hosted in all of our in every state in our 12-state area that we serve.
Oh,
So
wow.
we're not quite halfway to our goal for the year, but we've got a good plan in the works to meet our goal. So that's been really great. And then I've been able to attend a local chapter symposium. And as far as people I've met, Haley Watkins, she also was at Burns McDonnell. We've worked closely together, as well as Kat Bakina and Andrea Dunger. We were on an events committee together before I was the communications chair. and got to meet at the Chicago Symposium and hit it off. And now she's our chair for the Midwest chapter, which is super exciting.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So one thing that I love watching about the APMP Midwest chapter is the focus on community and all the different things that you guys have going on. I feel like you guys also have a book club and all sorts of kind of ways for your dispersed community to come together and, feel like they have support in so many different ways.
Yeah, it's a really awesome board. I think there's over 20 people on the board now. And like you said, they have the book club, they have a professional development group, they have a mentorship group where they're pairing mentees and mentors together, which I participated in early in my career, and it was really rewarding.
Oh, wow.
And I remember in like 2014, we had, I think, like 310 members of the chapter, and now we have over 700 members. So that's just a testimony to how awesome APMP is and how this industry is growing in momentum.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing. Very cool. That's tremendous growth.
I know. Yeah, in like 6 years.
Yeah. So we're about to switch over to kind of our more fun surprise rapid fire questions round and the Nutters round that we've named after Howard Nutt. But before that, can you tell us 3 things that not many people know about you?
Ooh, sure. Okay, so let's see. The first I always lead with is that I was homeschooled 4th grade through 9th grade. So
Wow.
kind of random, but it was a really awesome experience for me. And difficult to accept my mom as my teacher the first year, but then we hit a great stride. And I'd say the other 2 are kind of related. My parents homeschooled me because they said they didn't want to shelter me from the world. They wanted to expose me to the world, and in ways that you can't get in the classroom setting. They both kind of have wanderlust and love to travel. And that was a big part of my education, was traveling. And when I was 16, my mom let me go to visit a friend in the Czech Republic by myself for Christmas. And I actually
Wow.
got trapped in London 2 days before Christmas. There was this like epic fog, and they were saying flights were going to be canceled for days. Everything was grounded. So I was trapped in the UK, and I was just like, I'm not missing Christmas with my friend. So I remember my mom saying there's a channel, and I'm like, I don't know what this channel is, but I know it's a train that goes underwater somehow from the UK to mainland Europe. So I just asked random people around the city, like, hey, where's this channel station? I got directed to like a regular station that just took you around the UK. Finally made it to the channel station, picked the cheapest option, which was going to Berlin versus Paris. Went to buy my ticket for the Berlin train, and they're like, oh, it's completely sold out. And people are like, but we're just going to get on it anyway. And I'm like, okay. So I hitched a ride on this train and like the car, like the luggage area, and through a series of other trains made it to my friend's house. And I didn't have a cell phone. And so my friend's mom in Czech is calling my mom, and they're all freaked out, but I just didn't even worry. I'm like, oh, it'll be fine. I'll just take this train to this train to this train and get there. So that was a fun little cross European trek. And then my third one was 2 years after that, one of my good friends and I went to Greece for 3 weeks, and we were really poor, but we wanted to do it. And so we actually lived on 40 euros a day as our budget when we were there. And we camped, we wrote down every expense. We ate like bread and tomatoes and cheese, and it was amazing.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like a TV show that needs to happen, right? 40
Yes.
euros a day, Greece.
Yes. I know. I think it'd be harder to pull that off today. Maybe you could do it with like, I don't know, 60 euros. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure inflation, you'd have to adjust it, but still very, very cool. I'm sure Basker's going to ask you about some of the other very cool places I'm sure that you've been, but those are some fun ones to kick off the round with.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Elisabeth. That was classic. I was just visualizing, what I would have done if I faced the same situation. I would have freaked out, definitely. But that's great. That's great. Elisabeth, talk us through your hobbies and interests.
Sure. So like I mentioned, travel is a big one. And on that note, with travel and living on 40 euros a day comes a lot of walking. And so one of my favorite hobbies is hiking. And so traveling to new places to check out awesome trails or awesome like off-road kind of hidden gyms that you can find in national parks, those types of things. So we just in April went to visit Utah for a week, and we're able to spend a lot of time hiking in Canyonlands National Park, which is one of my favorite places to go.
Right. Any other places? Are you looking to walk around the Colorado mountains when you are at the Denver conference?
Ooh, I still haven't pulled the trigger on going or not. Are you going?
It's going to be a close call, I think, because I haven't booked my ticket yet. But with the way things are happening here, Elisabeth, as you know, the third wave and lockdown and so on, so
right.
and so it might be last minute, but a few of my friends are coming in, and we're planning to do the trail around the Colorado mountains. So I'm just finding more excuses for me to come there rather than the conference, as you know. But inside, the biggest reason is just to meet you, Ashley, and there are so many other people who come, right? That's the main thing. But yeah, I haven't confirmed it yet, but would love to see you 100% if you can.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm on the fence as well, and I know they're running out of tickets, which is great for the organization. So
Correct.
yeah, I also love to kayak and camp and read, and I have a 15-month-old son, so that's been my, most of my focus now has been on activities we can do with him, which is awesome.
Got it. 15 months. That's nice. I think, how is it bringing up the baby during the COVID times?
Yeah, an interesting time to become a parent, that's for sure. It was a little sad because I have two nephews the exact same age as him that he didn't get to meet until just 2 weeks ago. So we finally got to meet them, which was awesome. And we tried to keep things as normal as we could for him. I'm certainly cautious, but I'm not one to live in fear. And so he went to daycare, we still attended church, and we really wanted to just still introduce him to the world and as many experiences as we could.
Got it. I think it's a fun time because few of my friends, I think, as you rightly said, they all are meeting up, and one of my friends, we just met up like a week ago, and then she told me, both my dog and my youngest don't think they're racist because they haven't seen a brown or a black person in the whole year.
Oh, they just haven't seen any people at all.
No. They've only seen mom and dad, and then they're both white, and they are just living a little bit far. And now they're slowly meeting their own grandparents and friends and neighbors. You just said, even the dog was barking at me. Just said because he hasn't seen anybody.
Yeah, they're like, wait, we're not used to people visiting at all. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, everybody need a lot of social time. I think 3 times more than what we used to do to get back to normal. That's great. So thank you for sharing with Elisabeth. Elisabeth, a quick one. Normally, when people have the name Elisabeth, it has the Z, right? Is there any reason why you have yes?
It was something my dad was really passionate about, was having me have the spelling with the S, and I believe it goes back to, so it's a biblical name, and in the King James translation, King James version translation, they use an S instead of a Z.
Interesting.
I know. And then to make it even more confusing, I go by Liz with a Z.
Yeah, I was planning to ask you. I'm sure all my friends with name Elisabeth, we call them Liz or Ellis. But this will be interesting. So, my God, that's great. So I'm sure there could be a lot of typos in their letters that you might have received or emails, so many things. So that's good.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So let's officially end the rapid random fire questions round in Harvard or Forward Not. We're calling it the Nutters round.
Okay.
So, what is the first book or a movie that made you cry?
Oh, I feel like I'm going to say something super cliche. Honestly, I think The Lion King was the first movie that made me cry.
Yeah, I cried.
It's so sad. First book, I have a memory of one that was making me just weep, but I can't remember the title. It was when I was in junior high. It was some, young adult historical fiction series. I read a lot of historical fiction and nonfiction, and I think some of those Civil War era ones had me in tears.
Nice. Correct. Yeah, it's every time when I go for the Lion King musical, I cry. My wife is like, "How old are you?"
It's a really moving story.
Yeah, exactly. At the same time, when you watch Pink Panther and other movies, I'll be the one in the middle laughing. But anyway, that's great. Thank you. So, what's your favorite love story, movie or a book?
Favorite love story? Probably Pride and Prejudice.
Nice.
It's a good one.
Can you daydream at night?
Can I daydream at night?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yes. I mean, if that counts as like waking up in the middle of the night with random ideas and inspiration, yes.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, that's it. So at the beach, would you rather play in the sand or play in the water?
Ooh, I would say an equal mix of both.
Yeah, totally. It depends on how long we stay in the beach, right?
Yes, and
Yeah.
how nice the water is.
True, true, true. That's the mama in you coming out, Elizabeth. Yeah, so why do superheroes wear their underwear outside their clothes?
To get attention? I don't know. Why do you think?
That's a good question. What do I think? Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer. Yeah, I know. What did I say last time? Maybe it's branded or something. Let's move on. So if you could make a rule for a day and if everyone had to follow it, what would it be?
Ooh, I would say something having to do with kindness. That everyone would smile, say hello as you pass them on the street.
That's great. What's the most adventurous thing that you've ever done in your life so far?
There's so many things that it's hard for me to pick one. I would say the backpacking in Greece trip was a really fun adventure. I know there have been other moments where I was more scared, so I'd say those were like greater adventures.
Good.
I can't decide. I'm so sorry. I would say I went whitewater rafting in Colorado, and I was afraid before I did it, and that was amazing.
Yeah, totally, definitely. That's good. So do you think Prince Charming exists?
No.
Well, you know your husband is going to listen to this, right? It's good. So do you have multiple personalities? If so, describe some of them.
Oh, I would say no. However, I'm definitely more professional and poised in work interactions than I would be maybe with just two of my best friends hanging around.
Got it. What's your favorite childhood memory?
Going way back, I would say tea parties with my stuffed animal, Big Bear.
It's so cute. Nice. Do you think people should eat the fish that they catch or just let them go?
I would say it depends on the size of the fish.
Right. That's a very curious response. Why? I mean, like size of the fish?
Because if they're like these tiny little babies, then you let them go so that they can grow to be yummier fish in the future.
What kindness. This is so cool. Nice. If you were a Star Trek or a Star Wars character, which one would you be?
I kind of want to be Chewie. I don't know.
He's
like so fun.
Definitely he's popular one. Yeah, definitely. Who haven't you seen or talked to in a long time and you hope that they're doing okay?
One of my best friends in the Czech Republic. We were supposed to, get together early this year, and then because of 2020 madness, she's not able to fly to the States, and so I'm just really hopeful to see her soon.
Got it. If Jurassic Park was real, would you visit it?
Maybe.
Got it. So what's on your Spotify playlist, or what song do you listen to or listening to now?
I am obsessed with the Punch Brothers. So I listen to them quite a bit.
Got it. So you rate them as your favorite group?
They're my favorite for, yes, they're my favorite for right now.
Yeah. And anybody else whom you listen to? Any favorite songs that you have?
I listen to a lot of folk and bluegrass. And so another favorite band of mine is called Elephant Revival. And I listen to them quite a bit too.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's
But
okay.
I'll just nod their head. I'm sure Ashley, who's much more classical than me, might know all these things. So I'll leave it there. So what comes first, chicken or egg?
Chicken.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Sounds about right. Yeah, I think there was somebody, I think Ashley might know. They had a very logical explanation of why chicken, because it really bugged them. I think somebody has asked this same question to them a long time ago. So they went and did a proper research. And then they came back and justified for 3 minutes why chicken is the right answer. It might be there in one of the previous podcasts, but if you want to look into, I don't know exactly who that was, but yeah, it was super serious, that one. Yeah.
That's amazing. I do want to hear that justification.
Exactly. True. So if you were a little boy, when he grows up to 5 or 6, ask you, Santa Claus is real, will you tell him the truth?
It would depend on if it were my child or not. If it wasn't my child, I would just deflect.
Oh, got it. I think in our case, we have 2 boys, and my eldest, when he grew up to be 8, he just told his brother, do you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Younger brother. And then my youngest one was really upset. What? Is he not coming tonight? Giving me the gift.
Aww. My babysitter at 5 years old told me he was not real.
Oh no.
Yeah, my parents were not happy.
Exactly. Somebody's going to break the hard news to your son as well.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. If you were arrested with no explanation, what would your friends and family assume you had done?
Something that I really believed in.
Any serious concepts that you believe in, Elisabeth?
I'm just passionate about local government and different, I guess, different issues surrounding politics. And so I think it would be, if I were to be arrested, it would be for something I was extremely passionate about that I felt would justify that.
True, 100%. Standing for something is a definite good thing to do. And I will 100% endorse. I always tell people, you only see the likes that I receive for the social media post. We don't see the harassment that I go through behind the scenes. Yeah. And that's the positive of standing for something, right? When you start to make enemies or people start to perceive you as an enemy, which means there is something right that you're doing, which is disturbing people. It is good.
Wise, yeah, that's very well said. Wise words.
Exactly. To keep going, definitely. So if you're held at a gunpoint and told that, Elisabeth, you should impress us with your dance moves now, otherwise we will shoot you, what dance move would you bust out, Elisabeth?
That's a great question. I'm not an amazing dancer, so I don't know if I could define a dance move.
No?
Probably something having to do with spinning in circles.
Good. Exactly. All we need is few classes or few pints.
Yeah.
Everything flows seamlessly after that.
Yeah, I would definitely not whip out a ballroom dance by any means.
Exactly. What's the ridiculous thing someone has tricked you into believing or doing?
My husband says I'm pretty gullible, so I'll take something at face value at first and say, seriously? And my husband's like, no, that was totally a joke. So I'd say there've been a fair amount of things, but I can't come up with one off the top of my head.
That's okay. That's perfectly fine. So if you could be a cartoon character for a week, who would you be?
Maybe Roadrunner.
Roadrunner, my favorite one. That's nice. Definitely. Why?
I think because it'd be nice to be able to see the desert on foot quickly.
That's okay. Thank you, Elisabeth. That's really interesting. So what superpower would you most like to have?
Flying.
So flying?
Flying, yeah.
Oh my God, that's very similar. Why do you get dreams that you can fly?
I just think it'd be awesome. I don't know. That would be, have the aerial view and the freedom to travel in a different method. It'd be pretty cool.
And I get dreams all the time that I could fly. I mean, I don't know why. My
That's
wife said,
awesome.
don't go close to the balcony.
Yeah, you put an extra lock on it at night.
Exactly. That's it. If you could be an Olympic athlete, in what sport would you compete?
Maybe bobsled.
Oh, nice. Okay. Why?
Because I really love the movie Cool Runnings and I like going fast. It seems fun.
Okay, got it. So what do you cook better than anyone? Do you have a favorite food that you cook that you like?
I love to cook. I don't know if I could say I have a favorite that I love, but the favorite of the moment right now are fancy salads. It's summertime, we've got great produce. So I love to just kind of dream up what would be an awesome combination of fruits, veggies, and vinegar, just random vinaigrettes or creamy dressings. So I like to create in the kitchen.
Got it. So what type of a person angers you the most?
Probably a proud person.
Proud person?
Like, oh, like kind of haughty, not humble.
Got it. Totally. Totally. That's a good one. So what profession other than proposal writing and the company that you're running that you would like to attempt?
Well, these days I would say I'm most torn between proposal, running my company, and being a mom. So if mom is a profession, which it is, then I would say, yeah, mom.
Definitely, that's a tough job. That's a
Yeah.
tough job. I think somebody here in UK they did a survey that said that if a mom at home, if you pay them a salary for all the role that they could, then that's £150,000 job.
I believe it because you never get a break.
You never get a break. Then if you look, how much do you pay a taxi driver for dropping the kids at school, bringing them back, cooking, cleaning, washing, ironing, looking after home, looking after other things, and planning the day, planning the events, so and so, right? So it's so yeah, that's a good one. So that's it, I think, for the rapid random fire question round. We went slightly over, but because you were very quick, we just added a little bit more questions. Elizabeth, hope you enjoyed it. So the next one is the gratitude part. So who are the people who have been the most influential in your life and career?
In my life, I would say my parents. They definitely, especially my dad. Without them, I would not be who I am. They encouraged me to take risks, to be myself, to be confident in myself, to be a kind, patient person. So big kudos to them. My husband, we've been married for 8.5 years. And he's always just been, an encourager and support system with the business and in life in general. And also, one of my extended family two of my extended family members, my cousin Laura and her dad Jess, they were like my dad's second family. They helped raise him. Just really influential, somebody I looked up to, and we actually named my son after my uncle Jess.
Oh, that's so good. And in your career, anybody else in the past?
Yes,
Kristen?
yes. Thank you for reminding me. So very beginning, my first supervisor who kind of showed me the ropes, Megan Large, she was amazing, is amazing. And then Kristen and Haley, who trained me on proposal best practices, introduced me to APMP, encouraged me to get certified. Like without the three of them, I would not be here today.
Brilliant. That's a lot of love surrounding you, Elizabeth, and I wish that you get a lot and lots more love in your life and career going forwards. That's great. So I know this COVID period, I wish one day I can remove this question, but it's been there for 15 months and we're going to continue. So what have you observed lately that reminded you that people are kind?
I love this question. And I think like you hit the nail on the head. I've been so like blessed, and I'm so grateful for the amazing people in our life. So I would say my son's daycare ladies are so kind and just love my son so well. So that's been a great reminder. And then also, I'm really involved in my church community, and my small group leaders are also just, yeah, that picture perfect model of kindness and love and support.
So who is the kindest person you know? Anybody whom you haven't mentioned yet?
That's like so hard because there's so many kind people. I think it would change by the day and who's on top of my mind. But I would say my cousin Laura right now is top of mind for kindest person I know.
Oh, that's nice. Cousin Laura, whenever you hear it.
I'll have to send her this podcast and say, listen
Exactly.
to this question round. Yeah.
Exactly. That's good. So what's one personal trait you like the most about yourself?
I think resolve. Because there's a lot of things that we do in life that are scary or intimidating, or we don't want to do them. And I think I have a gift for I've decided it has to be done. I've accepted it, and I move forward without really thinking about the what ifs or being anxious.
Totally. Last question from Elisabeth before I hand over to Ashley. So what advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours?
Definitely become an APMP member, pursue certification, get involved with your local chapter, network as much as possible. I think LinkedIn is an amazing platform for us to connect to people that we otherwise would not have met. I think that's how Bhaskar, you found me, or Ashley found me. And I would say don't believe in yourself and have confidence. And actually, if you see someone like Bhaskar or Ashley and you think, wow, I'd love to talk to this person, send them a personal note on LinkedIn and let them know, like, hey, I'm getting started in this profession. I'd be really interested in chatting with you about what your careers look like. And just ask. The worst they can say is no or not respond, and it never hurts to ask.
Totally. Well said. And I'm quite happy or even humbled that you are just adding me and Ashley to the group, which is good. So with that note, I'm passing to Ashley. Thank you.
Wow, Elisabeth, this has been such a fun episode, learning more about you, your hobbies and interests, all the very cool things that you've done with your life. We're going to end this up with a final few questions. The first one we have for you is, what is one common myth about our profession that you would like to debunk?
That we are weird for liking proposals.
Yes. Okay. Explain it a little bit more.
For sure. Yeah. So I feel like a lot of the marketing and communication professionals that I've worked with in the engineering firm, the law firm, or even like business owners, for example, when you tell them that that you do proposals exclusively for a living, they're like, how are you a normal person? Like that's painful. We hate it, kind of thing. And so I think just busting that myth that while we might be a little nerdy and a little, type A, that it's not a weird profession, and that, we're normal too.
I love it. Yes, there are some amazing personality traits that make us so good at what we do. So we're not necessarily weird. We just have the right skill sets. So yes. Agree with you 100%. So over the years, I'm sure you've come across some really great advice from others. What is the best piece of advice that you've received, and who gave it to you?
There's so many, but two mantras that come to mind quite a bit are in challenging situations. One that I love is make the problem the solution. And just kind of like thinking about creative ways. Like a lot of times people have difficult like team members or difficult circumstances, and it's like, okay, how can I actually work with this difficult person, empower them, and help them become part of the solution. And then one that I kind of talking about my love for resolve and being resolute. I have a little sticky note. I have two other sticky notes that are my kind of go-to mantras, which one is give to others first and give frequently. Just that like spirit of gratitude and thankfulness. And then the other one, going back to being resolute, sorry, I went out of order, is don't get nervous, get ready. And so whenever I'm like procrastinating or I'm like, I don't know, or I feel a little self-conscious, I'm like, no, just, dive in and do it.
Wow, I love those mantras, and I can just picture your sticky notes with those posted around and just reminders to yourself.
Yes.
If you could tell your younger self anything, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, such a good question. I feel like I'm still young enough that I feel like I'm still figuring it out. So I'm not sure. Like maybe I'd tell 15-year-old Liz that college is worth it because it got me to this point. Whereas, at the end of high school, I felt like pretty not so positive about the whole college experience that was coming up.
Gotcha. Yeah, college, I think, is a great, sounding board or springboard for a lot of different opportunities. And it's not for everybody, but I think it is, it can be a great starting point for so many.
Yeah,
I really
definitely. I enjoyed my major classes. Once those were good. The other stuff, not so much, but it definitely gave me the tools as far as like learning how to write in AP style that I use today. And then also just, that credibility to be a part of this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned this a little bit. You still consider yourself young, and you've achieved so much, owning a business, so much travel, you've seen the world, and so many people have not. What accomplishments are you most proud of?
I think the business for sure. We're starting the business, and we just had our 4th business birthday, so I'm very proud of that.
Wow! Congrats!
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And then I guess keeping my son alive in 2020, that was a big accomplishment. Just like surviving and trying to thrive. And I think those were the top 2.
Yeah, amazing accomplishments. So you've accomplished so much so far. What are you looking forward to in the future?
Growing the business and raising my son. And on the note of the business, I do have a really exciting change, big news coming, but I can't quite share it yet. So you'll have to stay tuned. But we are working on strategically growing.
Oh, wow. That's so exciting. We'll definitely be on the lookout for those announcements and be following you and cheering you in the background.
Oh, thank you so much.
100%.
So Elisabeth, is there anything that, you had wanted to share on the podcast that we haven't asked you about?
I don't think so. No, just really thankful for the opportunity to chat with you both and get to know you better. And appreciate you reaching out.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate your time today. It's been a privilege to have you with us here at Scribble Talk. We wish you all the good health and happiness. Please continue to inspire bid and proposal industry colleagues and everyone else around you. Stay safe, stay sane, stay healthy.
Thank you.
To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Please visit batchyscribble.com/podcast to listen to this episode and check out any of our other previously recorded episodes. If you've enjoyed today's interview, don't forget to subscribe, review, and share the Scribble Talk podcast. We hope you'll check out our next episode where we interview another industry expert and special guest. Until then, it's Ashley Kays,
Bhaskar Sundram,
signing off.